All right, it's Tuesday, January 18th, 2011. Lost track of what day number this is because the videos aren't really going by day anymore. But anyway, this is my second film review segment. Got four films again, a bit different from last week's, but that's all right. We'll just jump right into it. I went and re-saw Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 for a couple of reasons, most of them political, not actually to do with the film, but my biggest issue was with the concept of releasing it in 3D, which I didn't agree with from the start because the rest of the films obviously aren't in 3D, so you're causing this sort of incontinuity in style, which they've already done, which has already angered me anyway, but you know, another straw on the camel's back, so to speak. They didn't end up releasing it in 3D, which sort of makes me suspicious. It feels to me like they're waiting so that everyone will go see it, and then when they release part 2, they can re-release it in theaters in 3D and everyone will go see it again. That'll probably happen. You know, kudos to them for finding creative ways to take money from people, but not my style. The other big problem I had with it was the ending. It seemed to sort of be at a point where there isn't any necessity for it to go on. I mean, obviously the conflict is still going on, but there's no big like, oh, we need to do this now moment. It's just sort of, you know, both parties are at opposite ends of the spectrum, you know. Aside from that, it was really enjoyable, very faithful to the book. Yeah, 3 out of 5. The second movie I saw was Starter for 10, which is a sort of odd movie. I ran across it on Netflix and it piqued my interest. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. It's an interesting sort of dynamic because you start watching it and you think, oh, this is going to be, you know, an awkward sort of comedy. But, you know, 15, 20 minutes in, they start losing the comedy aspect and it's just awkward for quite a bit, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's about a sort of odd knowledge prodigy going to university and joining this quiz team to get on a show in Britain. And it's all interlaced with this very sort of generic romantic, I'd say comedy, but once again, it's not all that funny, haha. It's more of comedy in the sense that it ends well rather than with tragedy. You should definitely check it out though if you get the chance. It's an interesting movie. Thirdly, I watched Good Luck Chuck, which is a different take on the romantic comedy. Focuses more on the funny, haha. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5. It definitely seems to be aimed at a more teenage audience. There's lots of, you know, boob jokes and stuff like that. Not necessarily my style. And it's sort of bizarre because the main character, anytime he sleeps with a girl, the next person she dates, she ends up marrying. And then the conflict comes when he falls in love with a girl and doesn't want to sleep with her because he feels like she'll end up going on to someone else and marrying them. So the moral seems to be to not sleep with someone until you're married, but it's told through him basically sleeping with, I don't know, probably 50 other women, and it's just sort of a conflicted moral. I don't really know how well they implemented that. So yeah, if you're a teenager and you enjoy, you know, sort of stupid humor, stuff like that, maybe check it out, but I don't really recommend it. Finally, in my superhero film class, we watched The Watchmen. I'm going to give it my first 5 out of 5. Mostly because it's an extremely faithful adaptation to the graphic novel, and the graphic novel is so complex and so deep. I've read it, you know, 7 or 8 times, and I could read it again and still find new ways to look at it. The main aspect of it, the original idea, at least from what I've read, is that he wanted to create superheroes with very human flaws. So you've got, you know, an alcoholic, you have these people who basically give up on life because they know that they'll never have their glory days back. That sort of, you know, um, psychological flaw within these supposedly infallible figures. It's a very interesting concept. Um, so yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's really good. There are a few graphic scenes, lots of blood, stuff like that, but it's all done in a very comic book style. It's all, well, a gritty comic book style, and it's probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. So that's it. I'll have full reviews of those up on my blog later tonight, and see you tomorrow for the book reviews.